Hi, I'm Krystin.
And I'm Danielle.
Welcome to the TwinStrands Podcast.
This is episode number 3, September 2023.
It's been a very busy month, and we've been all over the place. If you didn't see, our last video we went to DFW Fiber Festival, and I think we are just now starting to get back into the swing of things after being gone at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a pretty short episode. Neither one of us have had, well, I definitely haven't had very much time to work on things. And it's been a really busy month.
Yes. I'm going to apologize in advance if there's any technical difficulties. I got a new phone and that's what we use to record on. So hopefully the quality will be a little bit better because the camera's a little bit better. I am going to have to remind myself to look at you and not just below you where I can see myself. So a little bit of a different setup for us this month, but I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good, better setup. So
we'll
start with finished objects.
Yes.
Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
Many do you have?
I have 3.
Okay, so you start and I'll go between your 3 because I only have 2.
Okay. So my first finished object I'm going to talk about is my Raquel Jumper. I still don't know how you pronounce that. It's by Rosa P. I'm going to try to hold it up so you can see. This jumper it's wrinkly because it's been folded in my room. This jumper was an experience to finish. It's honestly a very easy pattern. If you're a beginner knitter and you want to make a sweater, I think this would be a great sweater for beginners. So I started this, I put it on hold in August when we started our knits for DFW. And then I picked this back up to finish it after I finished the knits before DFW to see if I could finish it before DFW, which I did. But when I picked it back up, I don't know how it happened, but somehow I ended up starting, because I think I had knit up to breaking for the sleeves. I'm pretty sure I had knit up to breaking for the sleeves, or I was just about ready to break for the sleeves. And when I put it on hold. And then when I picked it back up, somehow I ended up picking it back up on smaller needles. I don't even know how this happened because I had needles on there. I'm pretty sure I had needles on there when I had it on hold. And I have no idea how I ended up putting smaller needles on the cable than what I was originally knitting it on. But anyway, so I started that and I really, honestly, I can't hardly tell where the switchover was. I got a little bit a ways down the body, maybe about that far when I realized what had happened. So instead of ripping it back and starting over, I just switched to my larger needles. You really can't tell that. What you can tell is one of the times that I put it onto my barber cords to try it on, it loosened up all the stitches. And then I went back and tightened them, but you can see a very definite line right here. And I'll post a picture on our Instagram for DFW. I wore this at DFW and I'm wearing it in the picture that we took with Nitty Natty. And you can see the line very definitely on there. I've only blocked this once. I'm going to try to reblock it again and then see if it works itself out and see if it bothers me enough to where I'm not wearing it before I rip it back and start it over again from that point to see if I can fix that, but hoping it'll stop. So I had picked up the body, knit part of the body. I was not at my house. I was house sitting for my pastor. And so I'd asked Krystin to grab the rest of the yarn and told her where it was at. It was in a bag. I asked her to grab the rest of the yarn for me. I thought I had 7 balls. Or no, I thought I had 8 balls. Krystin brought me the rest of the yarn and it added up to only 7 balls. And I was afraid I was going to run out, or I kind of knew I was going to run out. And so I just did a whole bunch of back and forth, and that's how this line ended up, because I had knit the body to here. I put these stitches on hold, picked up for the sleeves, knit the sleeves to about here maybe, put the sleeves on hold, went and finished up the rest of the body, knit just a little bit of ribbing on the body, and then went back to the sleeves, bound off the body, knit just a little bit of ribbing on the sleeves, bound off, because then I had run out of yarn. I think I got the sleeves to about right here. Well, then I came home after dog sitting, or no, I came home to block it. After I got it wet and pinned out, I came back to where the yarn stash was to get something else, and lo and behold, there was my 8th ball of yarn. And so after this blocked, I went back, pulled out my bind off, added more ribbing to the sleeves, added more ribbing to the bottom, and that was it. I still have some yarn left over for this, and I may go back and add a little bit of length to the body. I don't know. We'll see what happens as I wear it.
You could probably, if the line bothers you, pull it back to where the line is, because that's
I might end up pulling it back to where the line is and
then just re-knitting and adding the length there.
We'll see what I end up doing.
I'd try blocking it again first, though.
Really comfortable sweater. I'm really happy with it. The only thing I'm not happy about, and it's nothing due to the design, I just should have paid a little bit closer attention when I was picking out the pattern. The neck is really, really wide, and we have really narrow shoulders. And so wide necks do not fit us very well. And when I was wearing this, I felt like I was kind of battling it all day. I could do like the cute off one shoulder thing, and it looked nice, but I have never wore a sweater like that. And so it felt kind of weird. And then when I had both the shoulders on, it was just kind of like saggy in the neck and everything. So I don't know. I don't think this is going to necessarily be like a wear out and about all the time sweater. I think it's going to be more of just like a cozy at home type sweater anyway. So I might end up just leaving it the way it is and not end up doing anything to it. But it's done. And yeah, that was a really long and rambly. I'm sorry. It was a process to finish though, with all the back and forth, but it was done.
My first finished object.
Sorry, I didn't mention what yarn I used.
Oh, no, you didn't. Neither did I.
I used Barocco Arno in the color 5005. It is I believe a 50, and I think it's a 50-50 cotton wool yarn, and it's a blown yarn, like a chain blown yarn, which I have never used before, and I really like it. It gives you really great stitch definition. Mm-hmm. I don't know that a sea of stockinette is the way to go for that kind of yarn, because you can see every little bitty imperfection, and where sometimes some stitches end up bigger than others and all that kind of thing. I can see every single one.
It looks like it's going to pill too.
Yeah.
And I feel like a fluffy stockinette shows pilling more than just about anything else.
Yeah. It's kind of a fluffy yarn anyway. It's super comfy. Like I said, I think this is going to end up being my new, just like throw over everything in the evening when I'm cold sweater. I have a cardigan that I had made a while back ago that is just like, it looks absolutely terrible because I have completely wore this thing out. And I think this is going to be my replacement for that in the wintertime when it's cold. Mm-hmm. But yeah, really happy with it, honestly. Other than all the other stuff.
Other than all the problems, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
So my first finished object, I do not have the ball band for the yarn. I mean, I have it, but I don't have it with me, and I've got a dog on my lap, so I'm not getting up. But it is the Summer Days tank top by Bluebird Pine Shop that has had a lot of modifications to it. It is this. It's just a very basic, straightforward tank top. Nothing fancy. I knit it didn't knit it with a lot of negative ease, but it doesn't really have positive ease either. It's got maybe about a half inch to an inch of positive ease around the bust, and then I'd say an inch or so of positive ease. Sorry, my voice is all croaky. An inch or so of positive ease below the bust. I don't remember all of the modifications I did to this because it was very much like modify as I knit kind of a thing. I know that I shortened the shoulders to make it come up farther. I shortened the shoulders, I shortened the front piece. I did decreases. You can kind of see them. I don't know if they'll show up on camera. They probably won't. You can see a little bit there. So I did decreases for some waist shaping below the bust. I didn't end up flaring it back out at the bottom, but I just tailored it a bit, really. Nothing major, nothing to where I could say, oh yes, I did this and I did that, because it was all kind of just made up as I went along. I really like the way it came out. It's very soft. It's very comfortable to wear. I wore it at the Fiber Festival.
What yarn did you use?
It is a cotton linen flax blend that I'll have to find the name of and put up because, like I said, I don't have it with me. But yeah, it wore very well. I've washed it twice now, and it doesn't look like it's gonna pill too much. It was very enjoyable to work with, and it's very soft, very comfortable to wear. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way it came out. It definitely fits the purpose that I had in mind of being just a basic layering piece. I wore it with my Wing in It wrap, which was the DFW official knit along. I wore it with that one day, and yeah, it was really comfortable. I like it a lot. I knit the whole thing in about a week and a half. And then I think honestly, because we had so much knitting leading up to the Fiber Festival, I think kind of burnt myself out, and with my job switching and things, like I've been very busy to where the only knitting that I could really do right now is stockinette. Like I cannot.
I have to try to lean this down. See, I don't know if you can see Gertie, if I can lean our whole deal down without hopefully falling and breaking things, but she sees us in the camera and it's just so cute.
Yeah, since Fiber Festival, I haven't gotten a whole lot done just because the other work in progress that I have, which I know we'll get into later on, is a gift knit and has some lace in it. And I'm just, I think I burnt myself out a little bit trying to get as much knitting done as we did leading up to the Fiber Festival, considering we had the Wing in It wrap, that tank top, and our stag beetle sweaters, all which we did in about a 6-week period, in the middle of starting a new job and everything else. So yeah, it's just I overdid it a little bit, and I'm paying the price now. Okay, so my next finished object is also going to be familiar if you saw our first episode. It is the Waybosit hat by Kara McKinley, and I used Santa's Sunday for this hat. It just has a whole bunch of slip stitches and everything. Oh my goodness, you can see things so much better on this camera. It is Santa's Sunday, and I don't remember what color number it is. And I don't have the ball band because I used up all of the yarn in finishing this hat. So sorry, I can't tell you what color it is.
I am fairly happy with this pattern. I think it's really pretty, just like sitting. I don't know how well you can really see it on. I'm trying to think. I finished this a little while ago, so I'm trying to remember all my things about it. When I made it, so the pattern is only written, it is not charted. And the written instructions are honestly pretty confusing. And so I sat down before I ever even started making the hat and wrote up a chart for myself to be able to follow for the stitch pattern. So that was very helpful up until I got to the decreases. And honestly, I just kind of fudged it for the decreases at the top, which I think they came out pretty well. It's pretty smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the written instructions were just really confusing and poorly written. I know that there were some mistakes in a couple of places, which other people mentioned on Ravelry, finding some mistakes.
Your pillow's poking me.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I'm really pretty happy with it. Do I have a dropped stitch there? No. For some reason, when I was doing it, I ended up with a bunch of ladders, like on this repeat every time I went around. You can kind of see. I don't know why. Just in that one repeat, I always ended up with ladders. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's my first Santa Scarn Sunday project. I would have liked it. The hat is a one size hat, and we have really large heads. Yeah. And so I would have liked it to be a little looser, honestly.
I think if you could have repeated one panel without messing up the pattern, that would have been good.
Because it's a little bit snugger than I like for a hat. I prefer a slouchy, kind of more oversized hat.
Let me see. Fit. Might fit me better with no hair.
But I think I really think the hat is beautiful, just like sitting out. We'll see how much I end up wearing it.
Yeah.
Fits you better because you don't have as much hair.
Mm-hmm.
Hair. That's a inevitable evil. But anyway, I think it came out really well. I'm really, really happy with it. Other than the fit, it may or may not end up staying here. We'll see. If I never wear it, I will gift it. If I keep it and wear it, then I will keep it. We'll see. But that was my Away Busset hat that I finished this month. Felt short and long at the same time. Like, this felt like it's been forever ago since I finished this hat. And I know, when did I finish this? I finished this before DFW, but I finished it after the sweater.
No, I think you finished it after DFW. Did you not?
No, because I started my other hat before DFW.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I finished it after the sweater. So it was around the 10th or so, I think, when I finished that. I don't know. I would have to go back and look at my notes in Ravelry, but it still feels like that was a long time ago.
So my single other finished object, it's actually two, but I'm only going to count it as one, is a pair of socks, which I started before we left for DFW. Or did I?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it was your Falmouth. Or
Falmouth,
what did we call
it?
Falmouth cast on?
Yeah. So I knit a pair of socks in the amount of time between DFW, and I finished them several days ago, just weaved the ends in last night. It's just a vanilla pair of socks with a Fish Lips Kiss heel on it. The yarn, I did keep the ball band and I brought it in. We got in a wool swap, and it is Hobby's Halloween sock wool in color number 2. We got this in a wool swap last, probably November or so. And Denielle made, are you going to get it?
Yeah.
Denielle made a hot water bottle cover out of it for our little mini hot water bottle.
Which is purple, by the way. So, I mean, yeah, it's perfect. If you have a hot water bottle and have not knit yourself a cover for it, do it. It makes them so much comfier.
Mm-hmm. It really does. So this yarn is just like the yarn that never ends. So she made the hot water bottle cover. I made a pair of socks. I did do contrasting toes, heels, and cuffs out of them. And I used a purple and a green and alternated between the two so that they were matching but not exactly matching. Because when I split the skein, I had one skein that was starting on green and one skein that was starting on purple. So I alternated the toes. I could have made them a little bit taller, but I got to the point where this was about to start purple again. And I really liked it being the purple toe, the green heel being in the middle of the purple section, and then the purple cuff being at the top of the green section. I didn't want to break that pattern. I thought it looked nice the way it is. So anyway, they are like taller than crew, like than the short crew socks, but they're shorter than like a pair of boot socks would be. And I still have yarn left over. Still have this much yarn left over. I need to recake it. But yeah, I mean, that's a fair bit of yarn still left over after 2 projects.
Well, how many grams is in that skein? Ball band? Is it a 200 gram?
No, it's just 100 gram skein. 420 meters, 459 yards. But yeah, it's a fair bit of yarn left over. I am very happy with the socks came out. I put them on after blocking them. They're not as short now. I really think all it needed was maybe 2 or 3 rows more in the foot and they would have fit perfectly. But it's not quite my best fitting pair of socks that I have made, but it's very close to it. Enough that I can take my sock ruler that I got at DFW. If you did not watch that video, I got this wonderful little sock ruler at DFW, and I can measure the foot of the sock and add, you know, 1/4 of an inch to it and know how long I need to make my socks. But I'm very happy with them. I wanted them to be done in time for Halloween, which we're a little ahead of schedule there.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's just stockinette vanilla socks, and so it was easy for me to work on while I was studying and stuff. Yeah, that's my only other finished object for the month.
My last finished object for the month has not been talked about because it was kind of a quick cast on. After I finished my other hat and my other sweater, all I had on my needles was my 1/2 triangles wrap. And going into DFW, I wanted to have something smaller to work on, like while we were either sitting around volunteering or...
Which didn't end up happening. Well, the working while we were there did not end up happening.
Yeah. Or just like if we were sitting and chatting and knitting or something. Like I wanted a smaller thing so I didn't have to carry around my whole triangles wrap. And so I cast on this hat. It is the Sawtooth. It's just called Sawtooth, and it is by Carolyn Vogel. I'm going to say Vol. And it's actually a free pattern. The yarn we got in a wool swap. It is by Polar Bear Yarn, and the colorway is Campfire. And it came, I'm going to try to show you the yarn in here. It came as a sock set of this main color and then these 2 contrasting colors. And the reason I'm showing you the yarn is because sadly it bled when blocking, and so the hat does not have the contrast that it had before I blocked it, which was really sad. But so I cast this on. I cast on the adult large because, again, big head club over here. I absolutely love the colorwork pattern. I wanted to make a colorwork hat out of that sock set because I have made now 3 colorwork hats. Yep, 3. And have not kept any of them. And I made this one, and I will not be keeping this one either. Mostly because I don't think it suits me. don't think the color really suits me very well. But I am really happy with the pattern. I think I would like to use the pattern again. It's a free pattern. It's very well written. It was really an easy pattern. I did actually end up doing some ladder back jacquard on one spot because you've got a long stretch of color in a couple of places. So I did end up doing some ladder back. The first set I didn't, and then realized that I needed to. So I did that. Pattern doesn't call for it, but I would recommend it. I was going to say something, and I don't remember what I was going to say. Made the size large. Ended up really well, other than the color bleeding, which was really sad.
You said that it made you think of like sunflowers and stuff, and you didn't care for it before it bled. After it bled, it really toned it down, and it looks overall more fallish.
It's the green didn't really bleed into the green. What it affected was the gold. Before I blocked it, the gold was very bright. There was a lot more contrast in the gold, and it kind of turned the gold kind of green. And so you just lost some of the contrast.
If you didn't know how it looked before, I don't think anybody would have guessed that it bled. Because it doesn't look bad.
Yeah. So anyway, I had made this in hopes to finally have made myself a colorwork hat. And I don't like the way the color looks on me. And so I will be gifting this to someone else. And it'll join the list of colorwork hats that are gifted to other people. And maybe one day, eventually, I will make a colorwork hat for myself that I keep. There was something else I was going to say about it, and it's going to drive me crazy now.
It gave both of us the bug to knit the... oh goodness, I'm blanking on the name.
The Heirloom Cardigan.
The Heirloom Cardigan, yes. That
everybody's making.
Oh, what is that? I had both of those names until the moment I started talking. What's that podcaster's name?
The designer?
The podcaster that test knit it.
Does she do a bunch of test knits?
Mm-hmm.
She look like Olivia?
Mm-hmm.
No, not Hester and Lark. That's a different podcaster. It's a two-name podcast. It's Lily and Birch.
Gertie.
Take a picture. Gertie sees us in the viewfinder and is very interested.
Lillian Birch is the podcaster. She test knit the Heirloom Cardigan, and when I saw the test knit for it, I absolutely fell in love, and I really wanted to knit one.
Oh, me too.
As much as I love the idea of knitting one out of scraps, I don't know if I will get to the point of knitting one out of scraps, just because I would want it to be a little more cohesive, I think.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do a scrappy one.
I think maybe like a main color and several minis would be good. But yeah, that is a bucket list knit now.
Yeah.
I want to knit.
I definitely would not do a scrappy one, just because it's already like the all over pattern of it all. I like it, but that's already like a little on the wild side for me. And so I definitely would want cohesive, planned out colors.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I think doing like dyeing some minis in like a gradient or a color shift or something, and then randomizing where you're putting those,
that would be nice.
Would make it just something. For me personally, as far as wearing it goes, I would want it to be a little more planned out than a scrappy project. Yeah. But Lillian Birch, and I don't remember her name, but she used scraps, but you wouldn't know it by looking at it, because she has a lot more scraps than I think I will ever have, but she also dyes yarn. And so hers came out really, really nice.
Yeah. Okay, works in progress. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I have one to talk about.
I have 3, so I'll go first. I'll talk about first my half and half triangles wrap, which I'm not really going to talk about it a lot because I've talked about it in the last 2 podcast episodes, but I am just going to show you how far I've gotten. And of course, I'm in the middle of the row because why not? I'm going to show you how far I've gotten since the last time we talked. So I've gotten that far. I have started on the second color in my fade set. So you can see I joined in my second color right about there. Yeah, I'm not really, if you're interested in how I'm doing that, you can go watch one of our previous videos. It's kind of put on hold right now. But that's all I knit on during, oh, that's what I was going to say about the hat. My half and half triangles wrap is pretty much all I knit on during the Fiber Fest and the drive home from the Fiber Fest. Because the whole reason I cast on this hat was to have a small project to knit on the way to the Fiber Fest and at the Fiber Fest and on the way home. And I knit on it on the way to the Fiber Fest, and then we got to our Airbnb, and I was working on it the very first evening, and I realized, and I was using fixed needles for this, circulars, but fixed needles. I realized that the cable on one of my needles, where the cable and the needle met, was like about this far from popping off the needle. And so I was afraid if I kept working on it that it was gonna just like completely lose it. So stop licking me. So the whole point of me casting this on was to knit it at the Fiber Festival, and then I had to wait till I got home to finish it. So anyway, I basically only knit on my triangles wrap while we were there, which was great because it was just a quick, mindless knit. That's probably why I'm in the middle of a row, because I am sure I put it down in the middle of doing something and haven't picked it back up. But if you're interested on how I'm doing that, you can look in one of our previous podcasts.
So the only work in progress I'm going to talk about is what I'm currently working on. Like I said, I do have one other work in progress, but it's a gift knit, and so I'm not going to talk about it at all. Possibly in our October episode, possibly in our December episode. It really depends on when I get it finished. The only other thing I've been working on is Battenberg blanket squares, which I did the math. Originally, I had planned on just doing 3 square of each color, and then did the math on how many squares it was going to take to get to like a queen size blanket, which is, I don't know that it'll get all the way to a queen size blanket, but I definitely want it to be like at least a full size bed blanket. Anyway, long story short, decided that if I like the color, I'm going to start doing 5 squares out of each color. So yeah, the only thing I've been working on the last 2 days has been Battenberg blanket squares, which I've gotten quite a few done. I think about this stack here is what I have.
The rest of my Sunday yarn?
No.
No, it just looks like
that was what I've done already. Like, so this is what I had before, and that's what I've done over the last 2 days. So they're very easy. I've got the pattern memorized now. The only modification I have made is that I went up a needle size. So my squares are about a 1/2 inch larger. And yes, a hook size. My squares are about a 1/2 inch larger than they would have been if I had done them on the correct hook size, just because I like the feel of the material better on the larger hook size. And then the pattern's free, so I will just go ahead and say, so you're supposed to knit a chain 4 for the center of the square, and I think I did the first several that way, and it was just, I don't personally, it's a personal thing, I don't like fighting to get my hook into the middle of the circle. Never have. I've almost always when doing something that requires a tiny center, just done the chain, like chained more stitches than required. And then if I need to go back in and draw it tighter, I will. So anyway, I have, instead of chaining 4, I'm chaining 6, and that is getting a little bit of a hole in the middle, but I don't care. As many of these as I'm going to have to do, I would much rather just chain the extra 2 chains and not have to fight it. But yeah, that is what I am working on.
My next work in progress that I'll talk about is this one that I'm currently working on. This is just a self-drafted pattern. It's going to be a vest, I think. Well, that's the goal anyway. I have 2 balls of this that we got from a wool swap. It is in German. So I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
It makes me think a lot of like Patton's Croy sock yarn. As far as the feel and the look of it looks a lot like that.
It's Lana Grossa, I think, is the producer of the yarn.
It's beautiful. It looks like Spin Cycle.
It does. It looks similar to Spin Cycle. I have 2 100-gram skeins of this, which I'm pretty sure will be plenty for me to make a vest. My I know I've mentioned before they do quite a bit of cattle work in the winter and when it's cold outside. And so I wanted to have a vest to be able to wear to do cattle work. And that was my original thought when making this, but I really like it. So it may or may not end up being a cattle work vest. It may end up just being a vest that I've made and will wear, and I'll have to make another one. But I'm not following a pattern. I am putting what I've done so far on my Ravelry. It's Underkeeper Vest on my projects. So if you're interested in copying it, you can go look on there. I did a provisional cast on, which I did for this hat. They call for a provisional cast on, and then the brim is folded and joined in. And I really liked that. I really liked the way it looked and felt. And so I did that for this in a smaller needle size. I'm knitting this on 3mm needles, either 3mm or 3.5mm. I did my 1x1 rib on 2.75mm with a provisional cast on, and then I joined it in to knit. When I was doing my swatch to kind of figure out what I was going to do for the body, I was watching Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you're from. And as I was watching that and doing my swatch, it got to the point where Elijah Wood is
not Elijah Wood.
No, what's his name? What is his last name? The character's last name. What's his first name? Is it Elijah Wood? The character? The keeper? His last name is Wood.
Oh, is it Elijah Wood?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm thinking of the actor. I know.
Google it.
I'm thinking of the actor Elijah Wood.
The character is explaining to Harry how Quidditch works, and he has, and I'll try to find a picture of it and put it up. He has
Oliver Wood.
I
knew it wasn't Elijah Wood.
Oliver Wood. He has this just basic ribbed turtleneck sweater on, and I saw it and I was like, ooh, I really like that, and I really like the classic look of that. And so I messed around with my swatch and on this and tried that, and I really liked it. So I'm just doing it's a 4x2 rib, so I'm doing knit 4, purl 2, and I like just like the very wide ribbed look that it's giving me. It's just like a really nice classic look, I think. So this has kind of also been put on the back burner, and I'll explain why in a minute, but no pattern, just going with it. We'll see how it ends out. I can't decide if I want to do a V-neck or a crew neck.
I think a V-neck because
that's what I'm thinking.
Especially with that rib pattern, like that's a very classic traditional grandpa's vest look.
Yeah.
So it needs to be a V-neck.
I know. I'm thinking of doing a V-neck. The reason I'm knitting this bottom up is because I feel pretty confident in my abilities to make a sweater, a vest bottom up. Like I can visualize the construction in my head. I don't enjoy making things bottom up because I don't like not being able to try them on as well. But I can't visualize making a sweater or a vest top down in my head right now. So we're going bottom up, and we'll see if I end up doing a V-neck or a crew neck when I get around to it. We'll see.
See, I think
that's that. I am really happy. I'm not usually like a variegated yarn person, but this is more marled than variegated, and I just pulled stitches off. This is more marled than variegated, but I think it's really pretty.
I really want to cast on a sweater, which that gift knit, I need to finish that gift knit before I cast on a sweater. I really want to cast on a sweater and just do something like traditional basics, like that, like a 1x4 ribbed or a 4x2 ribbed, or just something really traditional. I don't know, sort of like solid feeling. That's just what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah. You're out of works in progress, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my last work in progress that I'm going to talk about, I just cast this on last night. It is my first commissioned knit piece, and I use the word commissioned lightly because I'm making it for a coworker who were fairly close, and her best friend is pregnant and is having a baby, and their nursery and baby shower theme is dinosaurs. And I saw this knit pattern for the textured dinosaur knit by Angela Louise Wood. It's a blanket pattern. I'll put up the pictures so you can actually see what it looks like. Anyway, saw it, texted it to my coworker, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is adorable. This is what you need for your friend's baby shower. She fell in love with it and asked if I would make her one. And I told her if she bought the yarn, I would make it. I'm just getting started on it. You can see I'm just starting on some little dinosaur feet. It's acrylic. It is Baby Bee Sweet Delight, just 100% acrylic. It's actually knitting up very soft. It doesn't feel plasticky. I mean, it feels like an acrylic yarn to me, but it doesn't feel plasticky. It knits up really soft. She wanted something that was going to be easy to care for, and so I told her acrylic, so she could just wash and dry in the machine. And she picked out the color. She picked out the yarn.
The color is perfect for the dinosaur.
Yes, it's a really cute little green. So, but the baby shower is in November. It's November 11th. I can surely I can make a baby blanket by November 11th. I'm going to be shortening it because she said she didn't necessarily want it full length because it's supposed to be like 42 inches long or something like that by 30. It's like a yard wide by 42 inches long. So I'm making it as wide as it's supposed to be. There's I think five or six repeats of the dinosaurs. I think it's 5. I may end up only doing 4 repeats of the dinosaurs. I would have needed 5 skeins of yarn, and she only bought me 4 skeins of yarn and asked if I could just make it a little smaller. So we'll see what I end up doing, but I have to get this done by November 11th, which that's not going to be too bad of an issue. The only thing is it's a written out pattern and it's not charted, and I don't like making patterns that are not charted anymore, especially when there's that much knitting and purling going on. But that'll lead me right into my next project that's going to be starting. This was going to be my first year, or this is going to be my first year of making a West Knits Shawl M Cal. And the whole reason I wanted to do it was because I realized I don't have another large knitting project done. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, I'm going to do the M Cal and I'm going to keep up with it because I don't have anything else going on, so I can just work on knitting that. Well, now I have a baby blanket that I have to make by November, which, I mean, I signed up for it, so that was it. But I'm hoping maybe I can do both. We'll see. The baby blanket has to get done, so that's going to take priority, but I'm hoping that I can get my M Cal done as well. So I'll show you my yarn for that. And oh, I was going to write all my yarn colors down and I totally forgot to. Do I have all my bands? I do. Okay. So these are my yarns for my M Cal. I had the middle two yarns already.
You had?
Well, Krystin had the orange one.
The orange one's mine.
And I had this green one. I had these two already. And I really liked them. And then when we were going to Fiber Festival, I picked up these two yarns. And I'll show you my swatch. I think it is just the most beautiful. It's just all the autumn vibes, which I'm in love with. It just looks like an autumn.
You're showing the back of it.
It's garter stitch.
Yeah, but
it's just like autumn fairy princess vibes. And I cannot wait to see what it looks like knit up. So my lightest color, I gotta fish my tags out of the middle here. They're gonna get all tangled. I should have taken the time. Well, I was going to write all these down before we started recording and I forgot to. So my lightest color is Robin's Promise Yarn Co. And it is her Songbird Fingering 4-ply, which is 75 superwash merino, 25 nylon. And the color is a Palmado Falcon Feather. So that is my lightest color, the yellow. This one. My second color is the orange.
I can tell you that one.
It is
West Yorkshire
Spinners
Signature 4-ply.
Do you know what the color is?
Color number 6.
Color number 6.
That is the color that I did the orange part of my wing knit shawl for the DFW Fiber Festival. I had an extra ball of it.
The green is from Andromeda sock yarn. It's got some fuzzy on it. It's from Andromeda sock yarn. It is her 75-25 superwash and nylon in the color Juniper. And then the red is Red Stag Fibers, Daucus sock. Daucus sock?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Daucus sock. It has dog hair all over it. In the color Brick Tavern, it is, I just don't remember the exact contents. It's wool, yak. I'm testing my memory here. Daucus sock. There we go. It's 70% superwash wool, 20% yak, 10% nylon in the color Brick Tavern. So those are my 4 colors. I am super excited. I love all of the colors. I love them all together. The yellow is mildly variegated. And it's the only one that's variegated, but I think it'll be okay. Being the only one that's variegated, I don't think it'll be too busy for my personal tastes. I'm really happy to see how it comes together. I actually really like that all 4 skeins are from different companies and that 3 of them are from different hand dyers. Like, I think it's really cool that 3 different artists' work can come together to make a different artist's work. I think that's really neat. I'm really excited to cast that on. It comes out October 5th. And I'm really hoping to be able to keep up, but I don't know if I will be able to keep up. We'll see. I am definitely going to be doing no spoilers. So, but I am hoping to be able to keep up with the knit. I think I'll be able to do it.
Even if you fall behind, unless it's like a super crazy pattern, you may be able to catch up.
Yeah.
Or at least, like, if you, like, say if you fall back by 2 weeks, which I would assume that it's not going to take you more than 2 weeks or so to finish that blanket, you may be able to at least maintain.
Right. Well, I've got almost a week before it even starts. So I'll have a week's worth of knitting on the blanket. And then I can work on the shawl, try to keep up with that as much as possible. And then the baby shower is not till the 11th, so I don't need to have that done till like the 9th. So then I'll have like another week after the shawl finishes to finish that baby blanket. So
you depending on how much you get done this week before it comes out, you may be able to just wait until
so we'll see. That's that. Do you have any acquisitions? I have one acquisition to talk about.
Don't think
do you have
so.
anything else to talk about? Okay. So I only have one acquisition.
Well, I say that.
To talk about.
Keep talking.
And I'm not going to talk about the stuff that I got at Fiber Festival because we have a whole video dedicated to that. But in our Fiber Festival planning video, I went on and on and on about Treehouse Knits, their colorway. I swear I've seen this tree before. I ended up, she advertised on Instagram for pre-orders for that yarn. And I ended up deciding not to leave it up to chance whether or not I was going to be able to get some at Fiber Festival. So I went ahead and pre-ordered 2 skeins from her. I pre-ordered this, which is her Trufala Cashmere skein, and my plan is to make a beanie out of this. It's super fluffy. I also got another skein of Trufala Cashmere at DFW in a different color that I'm going to make some socks out of. But this yarn is hard to show on video because it's fluffy. And I'm trying to pull out just one strand so I can kind of show you the texture of the yarn.
Sorry.
Well, that kind of shows it. Hide face. There we go. That lets you see the texture of the yarn. So I bought this. My plan is to make a beanie out of this. I was going to cast this on after I finish my other beanie, but now I'm going to wait till I'm done with the blanket because I have to make sure I get that blanket done. And then the other thing that I bought from her, the other was her mohair willow lace. Oh, I didn't say, sorry. The contents of this is 81% merino wool, 19% cashmere. And then I bought her mohair willow lace, which is 72% kid mohair, 28% silk. When I bought this, it was before I decided to do my, to do the West Knits M Cal. So my original thought was I was going to hold this together with this green and make something out of it. But now I'm using this green for my M Cal, so now I don't have any plans of what to use this mohair for. But it will get used eventually. I haven't looked in to see like what I could make out of just a single 100 gram, is it 100 gram? 50 gram skein of mohair. I don't know. It'll get used eventually, but those are my only acquisitions because I just absolutely love this yarn. I mean, this color is just so perfect. I would love to knit a sweater out of this color. I could not afford to, but it's just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful color, and I really like it. So that is my acquisition. That's it for me. That's all I got to talk about.
So this is not a recent acquisition. This is yarn that came out of a wool swap, but it is what I want. Somebody might be at the door. It is what I want to knit with next. And it is,
I bet there's a cat.
The fade set that Danielle's doing her half and half triangles wrap out of, that same wool swap person, Meredith Harris. She sent me a set as well, and it's not really a fade set because it's not, but it's for these 4 really, really pretty skeins that I'm just going to have to hold up one at a time and show you. And they're all heavily variegated. They're all very variegated. They're all really like dark, pretty jewel tone colors. So they coordinate really well. So that was 1, 2.
I really like that one.
Mm-hmm.
All the rusty colors in that.
3. Definitely a cat. I don't know if you can hear Ruger growling. And 4. And like this section right here, like if I hold it like that, so pretty. So anyway, this is what I want to work with next. I know that. I have known that for really since the yarn came in. But I don't know for sure what I want to do. And I guess that's why I was going to talk about it. If you have any ideas, let me know. I need to do some swatching on it, really, and decide if I want to knit each one individually, if I want to alternate, like do helical knitting. I think if I did helical knitting, it would look really cool, but I kind of cringe at the idea of helical knitting 4 skeins of yarn.
That would be a lot.
I thought about doing something, because it's fingering weight yarn, I thought about doing something with a thicker weight and holding 2 strands together and alternating between what 2 strands I held together. I'd have more ends to weave in, but I think it'd look really cool. Or the, my brain is just not with it today. It's the official knit for
Rhinebeck?
Rhinebeck, yeah. I know it.
You have your phone.
I have my phone. One moment.
Does it start with a D?
I don't think so.
It's not sea glass. It's kind of like the sea glass cardigan.
It is kind of like the sea glass cardigan.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, who is it by, too? Tessellated.
Tessellated. Doesn't have a D.
So I thought about like maybe like the tessellated pullover, something like that, where you're knitting with the variegated yarn and also a solid color, or something brioche knit. But anyway, that's the only thing that I have as far as knitting plans moving forward is I want to knit with this yarn. I have wanted to knit with this yarn since the day it came in, but have just had other things I've been trying to work on. So yeah, that's it for me too. It's a bit of a shorter episode this week or this month.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've both been pretty crazy busy. So I'm not sure. In the fall and winter, it's this weird dynamic of both having more knitting time and having less knitting time, because we're inside more. We're not out running around as much, but then there's also, holidays and
yeah.
And the knitting that we do is more like, you've got gift knits and so yeah, we'll see on next month's episode how much knitting we get done this month. Hopefully I will have more than just a tank top and a pair of socks to show you.
I hope to have a finished shawl.
You'll definitely have a finished baby blanket.
And a 90% finished baby blanket. At least a 90% finished baby blanket and a %% finished West Knits shawl.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a rambly, chatty video with not a whole lot to show, but that's what we have this month. So, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
If you liked what you see, please subscribe. We post a podcast once a month and try to post a random other tangent video in the middle of the month, once a month. We don't have any plans for a tangent video.
Sure, we can come
but I
up with
bet
one.
we can find something to tangent about. So we typically post videos every couple weeks, and yeah, you can reach us on Instagram. Our handle is at TwinStrands, all one word. We are both on Ravelry if you want to look at our projects. Well, my Ravelry is usually pretty up to date with projects.
I couldn't tell you the last time I updated anything on my Ravelry.
But my username's DogHappy2010. Krystin's is unicorntess.
If you want to follow along with projects, I would say Instagram is, for me, Instagram's the better way to go. And even then, I don't tend to post a whole lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you all for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.